Patience is an episode of The X-Files in which Agent Scully and Agent Doggett run into the rare Idaho scrotum bat. But first, the cold open. This episode begins with an elderly couple, and when I was a kid, me and my friends used to discuss which X-Files characters we'd like to be, and I'm going to tell you the X-Files character I do not want to be, and that is a lovely and generous older couple having a quiet evening in their home. Like, if you see people like this on the X-Files for more than 5 minutes, they're about to die in a brutal home invasion murder. Which is what happens to these two lovely people in Idaho. Then we get the credits, the new, improved Season 8 credits, which I watch for shit like this. So we go to the FBI headquarters where Doggett is so excited to be working in the X-Files office, and the only person that's more excited than him are his buddies. They act like when you're 14 and your friend is the first in your friend group to like get a job at the movie theater, so you think they can just like let you in and watch free movies. And this is the way John Doggett's friends are acting. But Scully's like, hey, straighten up, buddy. We're not here to have fun. We're here to monsters, you hear me? Because Scully is going through the 7 stages of grief, which is shock, anger, bargaining, denial, monster fucking, integrating this poor FBI agent into her missing boyfriend's UFO cult, and finally, monster. So she is grieving hard for Mulder, and they go to Idaho, and this is the X-Files episode where these actors who play these side characters bizarrely resemble very famous celebrities. Like, this guy looks like John Goodman's younger brother. So they talk to Sheriff Big Dan T, and this guy pisses me off. The way he will only address John Doggett because he's a man, and he will not address Scully because she's a woman. And I'm not saying I'm happy when this misogynistic guy gets eaten by a scrotum bat, but I also didn't lose any sleep. So now the 2 old people and the sheriff in this Idaho town are dead, and everyone is just coming for Scully, and I have no idea why they are, because as she explains, she's only examining the evidence of the 2 older people might have been killed by a giant bat, but they also might have been killed by a human, as far as her evidence tells her. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about this season of the X-Files, Season 8, is people say, like, in order to cope with her grief for Mulder, Scully became like Mulder. And I don't think that's completely true. I think she is taking more leaps in logic, and she is being a little more reckless because of her grief for Mulder, but I don't think she believes the way Mulder did, in a very blind and gullible way. Scully still examines the evidence, and that's what she says to Doggett. She says, look, I'm not an expert on the paranormal, I'm just a scientist who has seen a lot. And that's always how I will interpret Scully, because she isn't a closed-minded idiot, she's smart, and she always looks at the evidence, which is what she's doing now. So this is when Doggett reveals to Scully that he has been in the X-Files office all weekend reading up on X-Files about scrotum bats, and the hard eyes that pop up on her face are so amazing. Because let me tell you something, when Scully got partnered with Doggett, it was an upgrade. You see it on her face when she's talking to this man. She went from a partner that never had her back, always putting himself and her in danger, never even doing freaking paperwork. I think Doggett could have been like a trash agent, and if he would have just done paperwork, Scully would have been like, well, this is it, I hear wedding bells. Because Mulder put the bar for being a good FBI partner in Hades. So anything is an improvement. And John Doggett shows up in Scully's life like a prince at the end of a Disney film. And she's like, well, upgrade. So they find this guy named Ernie Stefaniak, And this guy inexplicably looks like Larry David. He's like, Jerry, curb your enthusiasm, Batman. You look like a scrotum. Calm yourself down. We gotta stop killing people, Batman. I don't know. I'm trying to do Larry David. So then, they tracked this guy named Ernie Stefaniak. He was one of the guys who shot one of these scrotum bats back in the 1950s, and they're like, hey, we heard you shot a scrotum bat. And he's like, go away, leave me alone, which is like the only thing he says to FBI agents. He's like an Idaho Gollum. Instead of saying the precious, he's like, go away, leave me alone. So Ernie Stefaniak sails off in a rowboat, and there's this scene where Doggett and Scully are also chasing him on a rowboat, but like Ernie Stefaniak's flashlight just like hits on them, and Doggett and Scully kind of look like Ariel and Eric in like Kiss the Girl musical, animated musical sequence, which makes me very happy. So then Ernie Stefaniak gets killed by Scrotum Batman, and they find out that Ernie Stefaniak's brother is living on an island because he was also attacked by this bat creature, 50 years ago, and he's been living on this island. This guy is great. He's giving Wilford Brimley vibes. He's like, diabetes, oatmeal, scrotum bats. So the guy collects little bats. And one thing that pisses me off about this episode is bats are my favorite mammal. And if you look at bats, they're so cute and so helpful and so harmless to people, except for a few very rare species. But for some reason, horror films and horror shows like only go for terrifying looking bats when they're just really cute, fuzzy little animals. It's like how mall Easter rabbits look so terrifying when they are based on the cutest animal ever. So it would be so cute if like John Doggett and Agent Scully were like fighting an actual cute looking bat like Stella Luna, but instead they got Ballsack Supreme. So this guy, Wilford Brimley, bat hunter extraordinaire, he nails dead bats to his door, which look nothing like the scrotum bat of Idaho. And I would think, like, wouldn't the scrotum bat just get pissed to see that? He'd be like Edgar at the end of Men in Black when Will Smith keeps, like, stepping on his cousins, the Batman. So apparently this bat is fucking pissed because now he has Scully and Doggett sent. So he attacks Doggett, he pushes him in a lake and starts eating him. Lucky ass bastard. Meanwhile, Wilford Brimley, Bat Hunter, is talking to Scully, and he's like, you're a young woman, and you can't hide forever from a scrotum bat, Scully. You have to get out into the world. You can't spend your life hunting monsters and grieving for an ex-boyfriend that never loved you, girl. And Scully's like, that's what I'm sensitive about. So then Doggett comes back because he's a fucking baller. And he's like, take care of that scrotum bat for you, Scully. And she's like, are you sure, Doggett? It has our scent now. And I always want them, like, to cut to Scully and Doggett's apartments, like, a week later. And they have, like, a giant scrotum bat living in their chimney. And it'll, like, come in at dawn. It'll go, like, boo! Like an owl living in your chimney. You know, Scully's friend Ellen will come over. And she'll hear that sound. She'll like, boo! She's like, Dana, what is that? Scully's like, that's just the scrotum bat that lives in the chimney now. It goes out at twilight every evening. I hate it. Doggett gets up in the morning to have his morning coffee and toast. Guess what? Boo! Scrotum bat. I want Doggett, like, to walk into his apartment, like, the scrotum bat's, like, hanging upside down watching his TV, and he's like, damn it, scrotum bat. I told you to get out of here. Doggett's landlady comes up to him, and she's like, John, look, you're a great tenant. You always pay your rent on time. You've kind of just become this building super. I always see John Doggett becoming his apartment building super just because he's such a nice, kind guy. And she's like, but you're going to have to leave, John. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to cancel your lease. I draw the line at scrotum bats. We have a strict no pet over 10-pound policy. We're sorry, John. I hope y'all have a happy Halloween. We love y'all.